So Steve mentioned the road reveal last night, the world review of the 2017. That's in our compact SUV segment, which has been growing at an incredible rate. And we've got the Rogue, which is a phenomenal entrant into that growing segment. But the Sentra plays in the compact car segment, which is actually the second largest segment in the US right now. And we've done, last year, 215,000 Sentras. So we've done a phenomenal job with Sentra, growing sales, and actually if you look at what we've done so far this year, we're about 11.5% above last year's pace. So we're selling a lot of Sentras. And if you look at this customer that buys the compact car, the majority of those folks just want basic transportation. Dependable, reliable, great fuel economy, and that's what the Sentra has been up until now. Now, we have a new opportunity with the Sentra SR Turbo. So the customers in this segment that want a little bit more power, a little bit more fun to drive, a little bit more style, we have an entrant in that space right now and will allow us to continue to grow. So I mentioned a little bit earlier that I grew up on the other side of the US, on Southern California, and I happened to be a car-obsessed teenager right around the time where it was all about front-wheel drive sporty cars. So it was Integras and Civics and Sentra SER back in the day, and Datsun 510 was even before that. So we've got a really strong history with the fun-to-drive compact cars, and we have a great new entrant today. So with all of that, let me take you through what it's all about. So the heart of it, and you'll get to see at the end, we'll pop the hood, you guys can take some pictures, is a 1.6 liter direct injected gas turbo engine. So it's got 188 horsepower, 177 foot-pounds of torque, and it is a blast to drive. You guys may know the Juke. This is the exact same powertrain that is in the Juke. So if you had a chance to drive that, you know it is a fun to drive. And one of the unique things about Sentra, especially as we look at across the segment, is we have two different transmission choices. So you'll see this one as a manual transmission, otherwise known as a millennial anti-theft device. But it is for those who haven't seen three pedals before, we do have a CVT Xtronic transmission over there. So if you haven't seen three pedals, you still have an option for an SR Turbo. So that's the powertrain. That's what is really driving us, and that drives that fun to drive aspect. But the engineers weren't done there. We did a little bit more around the performance handling aspect. So if you look at what we've done, we've increased the size of the brakes. So when you're going faster, you need to stop better. Front rotors went from an 11 to an 11.7 inch front rotor. The discs are different, so you got more stopping power. Suspension, a little more planted, a little more handling ability, and that's handled through increased spring rates and front and rear damping. They also increased the structural rigidity, primarily around the front to handle the extra power and give it that more planted feel as well. And then the last thing they did to make it a little more fun to drive is improve the steering ratios. So the electronic power steering is tuned specifically for the turbo, and that allows you to throw it around a little bit at speed, as well as in parking lot maneuvers, a little less effort. So we've got the powertrain, we've got the power, we've got the improvements in the driving dynamics, that's the fun to drive, but we still have to have the kind of the comfort and the convenience, right? You still have to have the goodies. From a Sentra SR Turbo, you can see it's pretty much the same as the SR with all of the styling goodies, as well as it's got a standard moonroof. We've got thicker front, rear and front glass, which provides a little more quietness. And we've redesigned the center console to give you a little more